second most common way families are being reunited is through DNA testing.
Step is to complete a DNA test. You can use any test.
And the most common sites are 23andMe, ftdna.com, Ancestry.com, and 325KAMRA.
And we'll put them right here as well so you can read them.
Check them out. Once you do the DNA test, then you're going to receive your results in a couple weeks. And once you obtain your results, you're going to upload your genetic results to GEDmatch, and it's basically a company that will review your results and compare them against Korean families that have also been DNA tested.
Yeah.
And it's a free site, and so it doesn't really matter what DNA company you go through, although the ones we mentioned are the most popular, because once you obtain your results, you'll upload them to GEDmatch, and they will see if there's a genetic match against families in Korea that have been tested. Once you've uploaded your information to GEDmatch and a close match is discovered, then you're most likely to be referred to 325KAMRA, and they will get in contact with your birth family, and if your birth family consents to disclosing their information, then you will hopefully be reunited with your family. In addition, you'll receive your medical information and photographs.
Yeah, now right now there's only about 100 families that have actually done this in Korea. Besides the adoptees, there's over 1,000 that I think have done that. But we just need a little bit more traction going on with this with the actual families in Korea, so it'll give more positive matches.
And you're referring to 100 families in Korea that have taken the test through KAMRA?
Yeah, just that one. There's more as well, but through that particular one, it's only 100.
But adoptees have been doing a really good job advocating through social media, also through a lot of television programs. So they're really trying to communicate to the public that if you're a family member and you know of an adoptee that's been displaced, like just go down to a police station and get tested, and the tests are free.
Now, if you decide to do a DNA test from 23andMe, what you're going to do is you're going to get a cardboard box in the mail. It's going to have a plastic tube. You'll spit in that tube and you'll send it back, and they will analyze your DNA. It'll take a couple weeks to do that, but once you do, you're going to get an Ancestry report, so it can tell you what your genetic makeup is. There are a lot of mixed Koreans as well. It may also have the chance to lead to a genetic match too if your blood relatives have contributed to the DNA database.
Let's hope so. There are a lot of different resources available to obtain a DNA testing, so we're just going to go through everything that we found for you. Starting with 325KAMRA, they offer free DNA testing to Korean families abroad. You can also obtain a free DNA test from 325KAMRA if you're a Korean adopting living outside of the US, but you do have to pay for shipping charges, which I think is about $20. And on 325KAMRA's website, you can also obtain a DNA test for $79, plus $12.95 shipping if you go through their website directly. Another way to obtain a free DNA test is if you're a member of the Korean American Adoptee Facebook page, you can obtain a free DNA test. There are rules and eligibility requirements. Also, if you live outside the US, then you can just pay for shipping. Otherwise, you can obtain a free DNA kit as well. Another way that you can obtain a free DNA test is if you attend Korean Adoptee gatherings like the IKAA events, and I know most recently the IKAA events had DNA tests available. So if you happen to find yourself at one of these Korean Adoptee events, you might want to ask around and just see if there are any DNA kits available. I know 325KAMRA usually sponsors them, but that's another way if you happen to be in Korea anyways. You might as well just get tested.
Yep, and don't just go there for the free DNA kit. It's also a great way to meet some other Korean adoptees like yourself.
We just talked about the main ways in which Korean adoptees can try to find their biological families. But as we all know, there are so many different barriers that Korean adoptees face in the process.
Yeah, one of the biggest ones is fraudulent paperwork. Agencies would actually falsify documentation to make the kids seem more desirable to adopt. They would falsify birthdays, names, how they actually became up for adoption, and all this is going to really hinder your search process.
Secondly, the agencies didn't even verify the information about the child, about if the mother even consented, the age, the health of the baby, anything.
And so all of this stuff was falsified for profit. And it's horrible. 90% of those who placed up their children for adoption were unwed as well. Unwed women were told that if they kept their babies that they were selfish and that their children would have better circumstances if they were put in America with affluent families.
Mm-hmm. Additionally, many single mothers or parents were coerced into putting their kids up for adoption, and also some relatives would just put their kids up for adoption without even telling the mother or the parents. And also, some were tricked into believing that their baby was going to be adopted by a rich Korean family, when in fact they were being adopted overseas.
Yeah, that's pretty much almost exactly Amanda's circumstance. Her uncle talked her dad into giving up Amanda, said that it was going to be in a Korean family, but the uncle adopted her to America, and her mom did not even know.
So I can tell you that happens. Another crucial barrier for adoptees is the interpretation of the special adoption law. So what this means is, if adoptees don't have the information, then how are they going to find their family? Under rare circumstances, will an agency provide the biological family's information without consent? There has to be two ways. The first way is if the birth parent cannot be found or is found dead. The second way is if the adoptee can prove that they have like a life-threatening illness, but otherwise these circumstances never take place, and the adoptees are basically left without any identity, without any way of contacting the people that gave them life.
Yeah, or knowing what kind of stuff they have in their family history. It could be medical history and stuff like that. I personally think that it's the right of the adoptee to know that about them.
Exactly. Getting a checkup every year, and then they have the whole genetic page. I have no idea, and so it's embarrassing, and I feel like it's my right to know and to be able to fill in those boxes appropriately.
Now, another situation that can hinder your search as well is, much like Amanda's adopted sister, she was left just abandoned, and police officers found her, and then police officers relinquished them and signed their rights over to an adoption agency or an orphanage, and then they get adopted from there. Now, one, being abandoned, you don't know what your actual name is, you don't know what your actual birthday is, so they have to make some stuff up. So that can really hinder you being able to find your birth family, because there's no paper trail.
Yeah. Finally, the current DNA databases are very limited. Now, Korea and America, we don't have a compatible database where we can share information, so it makes it really hard to be able to find matches instantaneously. It would be really helpful if we had consolidated databases where we could share the information, the DNA information from Koreans as well as Americans, and really make the process much faster.